I'm here with Andy and Mike. We're going to be talking football preseason, baby. Let's get it on. What's up, everybody? It's George Carmi, Full Press Commanders. I'm here with Andy and Mike. Thank you for spending your afternoon with me. I know it's been a long work week for most of you guys. Andy, man, what's going on, bro? Host of The Bunker with Andy and Freddie. How you doing today, bro?
I'm good, my man. How are you, my man? How's things over there?
It's really good, man. Happy to have you on. I know it's a late night for you. It's 10 o'clock over in the UK, so I appreciate you staying up with me, man. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that.
That's all right, man. You're getting used to it.
It's all good, man. I'm also here with the best dressed, most athletic person from the Burgundy Zone. How you doing, Mr. Mike? How's it going, brother?
Good, man. Good to be on. Definitely appreciate the hype up right there.
Of course, man. You got
even though it's
people,
all
man.
Facts, but you know.
Nah, it's all facts. We all know that anyway. It's all good, man. It's perfect, man. So it's good to see you all today. Obviously we're having a little midweek conversation about the Washington Commanders, our favorite team. We're definitely going to talk about the preseason and the Kansas City Chiefs. But before we get there, man, the big first game's around the corner, and me and Andy been kind of talking offline. I'm really excited for him, man. So Andy, coming over here from the UK, you're putting together a big old trip to come over here. Let's hear about it, man. I want to hear about that. So how's your trip coming over here? What's the plan? What's the whole mentality? What do you got planned for coming over here for week one?
There's I think in total there's about 7 or 8 of us coming over that I know of. I think there might be a few more actually that reached out to me on Twitter today. A few English guys said, "Look, Andy, I've seen you're going. We're also coming." There's quite a few of us coming over. I fly out. I think I fly out Thursday the 8th. We landed the opening day of the NFL season. So I think, George, I think the plan is to drop our bags off at where we're staying and get out into DC for the opening night of the NFL season. I think we're headed down near Nats Park. I think the guys have taken care of that. I can't remember the name of the bar we're meeting up.
Okay.
And then I think it's non-stop from there.
That's the way to do it, bro. That's awesome. So you're going to come here for the first opening night Rams versus the Buffalo Bills. You're going to catch that in America. That's sick. Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, man. I'll be there. And I know we're planning to meet up with the Burgundy Zone guys, yourself, many people, Jesse, Keith, John, Parker, so many people that I've got to try and remember to go. They're like, I'm only coming to FedEx to see you. I don't usually go to week one, but we want to come and see you guys. And so we're truly honored the way that people have been that are going to welcome us, and we can't wait to be over. I haven't been over because of COVID and stuff. Hall will tell you that we've tried to organize this for a couple of years now, but because of the whole COVID and everything like that, we haven't been able to get it done. So I haven't actually been over since, I think my last game was Thanksgiving, the Giants at home at FedEx on that cold. That was 2017, 18. We beat the Giants at home in a nothing game. The game before that, I was actually at week one when we lost to Philly. So, I was at the Philadelphia Eagles game where Kerrigan got that pick and scored a touchdown. I'm looking forward to that. Scotty,
he's just talking about some scores, I think, right now.
Andy's going to be single-handedly the reason why FedEx is packed on week one.
100%, man. I peeped that too. I peeped that 100%, bro. It's pretty funny. My boy Tony Wheat's coming. It's going to be fun. I think the one thing for all of us is the energy is going to be so high up, man. It's going to week one. Mike, are you going to be there too, bro, or what?
Oh, yeah. Me and Kyle, host of the Burgundy Zone, we were just talking about today in our little group chat, he's going to be picking up his tickets next couple of days here, and I guess whatever seats he gets, obviously I'm going to get some around his, and we're going to get it popping in week one. It's going to be a good time.
That's awesome, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. So basically, Scotty's really hyped about it. Can't wait to see you guys too. It's going to be a lot of fun all together. I'll be in the red zone lot, guys. I'm in section 110. All the Hawk Farmers are in 109. Let's all get together, man. Let's have a blast. And hopefully the team can show out for us. Red zone lot's going to be awesome. Dude. I got a little girl coming up. It'll be a lot of fun. We're in the tailgate, and it's the whole time. I'm looking forward to, I think Saturday night or one of those nights, Tony Wheat was telling me you guys are going to go off down in DC, and I'm definitely going to put that on
Friday. I think Friday night we're hitting DC. That's going to be, just turn up to see what that's going to be like. It's going to be a great night. I don't know what I can say on your podcast, George. Saturday night we're going to Theismann Restaurant. Maurice from the DC Tweet team has organised a big meet up. He's done it before, which I attended. The one in 2017, and there was fans from all over America. West Coast, East Coast. There was fans from Europe there, and it was really good that Maurice got everyone under one roof. And that's what I don't think people like realize. This is more than just football. You know, it's football that's brought us three sitting here. You know, I've been chatting to Hall and Carl and Reed for 2 years now. This will be the first time that I get to hang out with them.
100%.
And in 2 weeks, and yourself, George, obviously knowing you for a long time now, so I get to hang out with you guys, and it's just going to be a good time. And let's just hope the on the field product matches the hype that's going to be off it, because if it does, then we should win this game easily.
That's the one. That's the one thing I always talk about, man. Is basically like everyone always gets like there is some negative energy in the fan base sometimes, and rightfully so. There's been some tough times over the past 20 years. But when people ask me like, "Hey, George, why do you stick with the team? Why are you still a fan of the team?" Honestly, man, it's the camaraderie that I've met with the fans over the years. Like talking to you guys has like been like a really cool second half of like my life. It doesn't sound weird or anything, but like as an adult, it's like we're making friends on here, just talking sports. It's kind of building camaraderie. It's been really cool. And it's like almost like a fraternity of Commander fans. It's actually so much fun. So it's gonna be a blast seeing you guys in person. I'm really excited about that. I've seen Mike before, but can't wait to see you, Andy. It's gonna be a lot of fun to hang out with you. So it's gonna be awesome, man. So before we start talking about like the actual X's and O's and talking about what the team's looking like now, let's kind of take a step back. Andy, then Mike. Andy, how'd you get into following the Redskins, man? All the way in the Redskins Commanders, all the way over in the UK, man, far away.
Yeah, during the I think a lot like people that have listened to podcasts I've done before, during the late 90s, I think 98, 99, I got to spend some time in Martinsburg, West Virginia. And the family that I was staying with were huge Redskins fans, like really big. And I didn't know too much about your football. Our football over here, obviously soccer, is everyone knows that. If you follow me on social media, you know that I'm
you love it.
I'm huge into my soccer. You know what I mean? I support my local team and like the Premier League, but they were just like one day, hey, do you want to watch some football with us? And I thought they meant my football, and they were like, no, the NFL. I didn't know. I didn't have a clue. I couldn't tell you what a first down was, second down. I couldn't tell you nothing back then. I was 18 years old. Yeah, I was 18, 19 years old. And I was like, yeah, sure. I'll watch it with you. And ever since then, really, I got hooked. And I think Dan Snyder had literally bought the team that week. 90, it must be 99. Yeah, 1999.
Sure. Yeah.
I didn't have a clue about him. I didn't know nothing. I was just like, look, this team's got a new owner. They seem to have a cool stadium because, FedEx was fairly new back then. And it was cool. And, I just got hooked. And ever since then, as the game's growing over here in the UK, what held us back for so long was the content that we got. We didn't really get too much. We didn't have what we have now. Now I watch every Washington Commanders game. I don't miss one because I have the NFL Network.
Isn't that great? It's amazing, actually. It's amazing.
Back then, though, you had to wait for like a Wednesday afternoon. There's a first down newspaper come out. The only way I knew all the full scores from the whole NFL was by getting this newspaper on a Wednesday.
Couple day delay. It's crazy.
Yeah. Internet was very early stages. Remember the old AOL dial-up?
Can't even call anybody. Exactly.
I couldn't exactly pick up the phone to like America and find out the scores. So, but it just grew from there. And now here I am, aged 42, doing a podcast. Chatting, it's pretty much taken over 90% of my life. Paul will tell you I spend most of my evenings chatting on podcasts or doing shows or
Isn't that crazy?
You guys, and everyone, all my friends rib me over here. They're like, "You're so American, it's unbelievable." But because I like baseball, I like basketball, I like the NFL. I follow the MLS. Obviously Wayne Rooney's just gone over there to take over DC United. So everything American sports I've always been into. But it started then when I was 19. I just fell in love with the country and the people. And I think like for me, the people used to get a bad rap over here. They, when you speak to people that haven't been to America, they're like, oh, they're all so arrogant. I always put them straight. I'm like, the American people are some of the friendliest people I've ever met. They're very welcoming. They're very, they're very humble. I mean, all this, don't believe everything you see on our TV screens. That's just a tiny. And I say that to a lot of people. I say, look, and the Washington community proves that. What's happening week one? What's happening with the English guys I've met? Scott, Scott, Andy, Peter, Tony. I met all them through football. So it's a great thing. But it all started for me in the late 90s, and here I am all them years later, and Washington through and through.
So 2 takeaways from what you were just saying, right? So for one, I played sports in high school. I played football and lacrosse, and I played football my whole life pretty much. But like growing up, I think sports is such a beautiful thing because it unites people, right? All economic backgrounds, all diversities, all everything, kind of put it together because you have a common goal of winning, right? And football, especially because it's like in basketball, you might have like a dominant player that kind of can take over the game. Football, you have to work in unison and kind of work off each other to basically kind of like to win games and work like that. So that's fantastic. I love that camaraderie that we built, even among the fan base. Like I've talked to so many people that I normally wouldn't have because of sports. That's the beautiful thing about it. And then two, man, the Brit American dynamic, man, dude, I love the Brits. They're so much fun. Like I went on a European tour in 2008, and I went to like Amsterdam and Germany, and I went to Italy and France, stuff like that. One of my favorite times is basically when I went to London, just went to the pub, just getting hammered, just like talking to all the Brits, and just like the language barrier was not present. You could just have a really good time. This was a lot of fun, so it was cool.
Oh man, George, wait till I'm in DC, man. I've been to Amsterdam 4 times. I have got some stories for you, brother.
I can't wait to hear it, man. Look at my wife. We're all good over there. Awesome, man. So yeah, Scott said he met some lifelong friends in the Twitter community. I totally agree with that. I met a lot of really good people here.
Buddy.
Yeah, so it's been really cool, man. So that's awesome. And you know, Mike, we've been talking to Andy a lot, man. How'd you get into becoming a Commanders fan, Redskin fan? How'd you get into it?
So basically, started off playing football like I want to say probably 3rd grade, like the earliest year I could like play like contact sports like football. 3rd grade, just fell in love with football, just kept playing all the way through high school. And around probably 3rd grade when I started playing, I started watching it. Like I know like there's a picture of me when I was like in when they won the 91 Super Bowl, but I was 4 years old. Obviously, I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah.
The only memory I have is there was a picture of me in like a Redskins onesie. My parents were throwing like a Super Bowl party. Like my younger cousins at the time were there. They're like my age or younger. They were there in the background. My aunts and uncles just having a good time, obviously because they won and it was like the glory years.
Yeah.
So just kind of just in my family, just like all my aunts and uncles is huge Redskins fans. My dad was a huge fan at the time. And so I just grew to like it and love it more and more. And it just became like a day, like on Sundays, you know, just if I went to church with my like mom or whatever, come home, sit on the couch right after church, 1 o'clock, turn on Fox. My dad sitting on the couch, we watched the game together. And there was a mostly disappointment growing up, but you know,
for sure, man. I can see that,
but it was just more about not even like just like obviously I wanted my team to win. But it was more about like, oh, this is like something I get to like bond with my dad about. And
100%.
Exactly. So like you said, it's more of like a family, like a bonding thing. Like, and then it goes like fast forward to now. Obviously, I do the podcast with Kyle and Mike Reed, the Burgundy Zone.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just love talking ball. I love playing ball. I was in a flag football league, and basically football just took over my life. And I just live, breathe, and just need football. And I just can't wait till week 1. Like Andy was talking about, like, we've been talking for like almost 2 years now. The meetups have been getting pushed back due to COVID and all this other stuff. So yeah, week 1's going to be a great time. George, we've met up a couple times at like fan events, games and whatnot. So so Red Zone Lot is going to be a great time come Sunday, and Sunday at 1 o'clock on September 11th. FedEx is going to be rocking, hopefully with a lot of the Twitter fans, a lot of people coming out to support, and hopefully it just stays just getting better and better every week.
That's what I want to encourage with people too. And I don't want to be like, you know, that extra positive person all the time, but there has been like, you know, sometimes you go on Twitter, there's some negativity, like, you know, these like all these content creators, there's too many podcasts, there's too much content and whatever. At the same time, it's such a beautiful thing that we've developed amongst all of us, right? Just kind of interacting and talking and meeting each other. It's like sharing ideas and kind of pushing each other. There's been some great things coming about through this whole content community. Yes, I saw some tickets. That's awesome, man. I'll see you there week 1. Nice. Thank the podcast for that. So that'd be awesome, man. So it's definitely something that's positive from that, and I definitely want to keep it going. So that's awesome. So, anyways, great time week 1. Let's talk about the team that we love, right? So we've had 2 preseason games so far. You know, we had one against the Panthers, one against the Chiefs. Andy, we'll start off with you. I'm going to leave this just completely neutral. What's your perception so far of the first 2 preseason games? What are you feeling about the team?
It's nothing that I didn't really expect. You know, it hasn't been.
He's a Jags fan, by the way. Sorry about that. I can't believe return the tickets. But go ahead.
Tickets back. It's been pre-season, really. You know, I mean, a lot of people read a lot into it. I thought there's been some really good stuff. Like Brian Robinson's come out of nowhere as like RB1 and probably now solidified himself as our legit running back coming into week 1. And the fact that he probably won't see the field this weekend speaks volumes, probably that he's going to come week 1. He's going to be suited up. Carson Wentz done okay. Sam Howell's done okay. You know, I mean, I've got from preseason what I've got. Yeah, I don't put too much into results. I want to see. Don't get me wrong; it's always great to win, but I know teams that have won all their preseasons and then completely tanked during the season. So I think we're on the right path. Defensively, I'm still not quite sure. I'm still a bit worried about obviously linebacker, corner worries me. I'm still slightly concerned. So I'm hoping Jack and Ron and all the guys are going to really knuckle down, and come week 1 we'll have that kind of sorted. But I'm worried, but I'm not worried about the season. I think it's trepidation really, because I've seen good and I've seen bad. So it's kind of like that seesaw effect right now. One day I'll think brilliant, yep, we're going to be okay, and then like the Washington Commander fan, my head starts ruling my heart in it, and I remember I'm a Commanders fan, and I'm like, oh Jesus, hang on a minute, So I'm not quite sure what to expect. I think because of the schedule as well, everyone's expecting us to just go there and win. But the Jags and the Lions are probably looking at it as going, we're
100%.
playing the Commanders.
I agree with that 100%.
We can go 2-0 here. So yeah, I'm kind of dodging your question a little bit, but I'm kind of like that at the minute. I've seen good and bad from preseason. I'm hopeful, but we're all like this at this time of the year. We say this every single season without fail, and we wouldn't be football fans, we wouldn't be sport fans if we weren't hopeful coming into the first game.
I agree, right? This is the optimistic season kind of going, is the optimistic feeling going into the season. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. Mike, how do you feel, bro? Has your thoughts on the season kind of wavered at all because of the preseason? Or how's everything going? What's your perspective on things?
Yeah, I try not to get too caught up in the preseason hype because, again, it's just preseason. Yeah. Your starters are only out there for maybe 15 to 30 plays maximum, depending on what you do offensively, defensively, and whatnot. With all that being said, I'm kind of with Andy, honestly. I'm not obviously coming into the season, I thought, okay, we got Carson Wentz, we got these weapons around him. The defense, they can't be as bad as last year. They fixed some things up. Some guys should be more comfortable in the system going into year 2. So I think the defense will be good. And then they come out against Carolina, and they only they only stopped them on 1 3rd downs because Baker Mayfield ended up fumbling a snap at one point.
Somehow.
And then so they come out against the Chiefs, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of like the game planning one where they're going to treat it like a real game. Yeah. The starters are going to play the whole half. And I just told myself, okay, just don't give up like a 10 to 12 play drive against the Chiefs. Like, get off the field on 3rd down. And then I want to see the offense kind of get some continuity going, move the ball down the field, move the chains a little bit. Obviously, I would like to see him score some points, but that's not like the biggest thing I'm worried about. Yep. And obviously, the Chiefs came out with 2 back-to-back drives of 12 plays, 80-plus yards. The offense came out. They moved the ball. Brian Robinson, like you mentioned, Andy, definitely been a bright spot so far. I think that Jahan Dotson, although we haven't really seen him flash in the preseason as much, I think come week 1 when they're game planning, they're scheming things up a little bit better, I think we're going to see him really shine. So there's definitely some bright spots. I think the offense is a work in progress, but it's definitely taking the steps in the right direction. And the defense is, again, like I said, the defense was – I wasn't too sold on them, but I wasn't too low on them. So I'm kind of – I go back and forth. I'm like a seesaw. One day I'm like, okay, they're going to get it together. Then the next day I'm kind of like, I'm kind of worried about the defense. And I basically, like I said, going back to the preseason, I used the preseason based off of, okay, what were your flaws last year throughout the season, offensively, defensively? Okay, this year we have the preseason. Let's see if we fix those things. And it just seems like the defense can't get off the field on 3rd down still. Yeah. It seems like they might have fixed the getting beat deep part of it, the communication on the back end.
That's true, right? I'll give you that. That's a good catch, Mike.
So you can check that in the positive side, but
that's true.
Just jumping back to the negative side again, it's kind of like I said, they can't get off the field on 3rd down yet. We'll see how it comes when you start game planning, scheming things up a little bit better, bringing some more pressure with the ones on the field. And I forgot what I was going to say. The second one was and the rush lanes with the defensive line. You heard Rivera harp back on it again after the Kansas City game where he pretty much singled out Casey Toohill where you're supposed to set the edge, gave the edge up. Mahomes obviously rolls out, completes the pass down the field. I think it was to Cam Curl, or it was I think Cam Curl or Watson, I think was the receiver for like a big chunk. So some things that still need to be corrected. Hopefully they come out against week 1 against the Jags. I know Rivera teams start slow and kind of build the way throughout the season, but as Washington fans, we know that we always start off slow. And I just want to have a team that comes out hot, firing off the
That'd
break.
be great, right? Yeah.
Jump off the gates first, though. Yeah.
Every time we make the playoffs, it's always like we're kind of fighting from a deficit.
Exactly,
we have to go on a 4 or 5 game winning run to get into the playoffs. Some concerns that I have so far, just kind of some stats that I kind of dug up while I was doing my articles, was basically that the starting offenses for both of our opponents haven't punted the ball yet. So the Panthers they have never punted the ball, Panthers or the Chiefs. So they're constantly moving down the field on us, which is definitely disappointing. And our starting offense hasn't actually scored a touchdown yet. All of it's been Heineke and Howell putting it into the end zone. Think this is my takeaway. I want to see if you guys agree with me. I think Carson Wentz has been relatively efficient, right? I feel like, he might not be throwing touchdown passes, but what I like about him is a pretty good command of the offense. He's throwing the ball quickly. He seems pretty decisive. Sans that one play where he got sacked, but he was doing a pretty good job of effectiveness that way. I am starting to get concerned about the defense, and maybe that's just the worry wart in me, because I feel like, the same issue about the third downs are happening this year as well. And I wanted our defense to take a step forward, because we have the same defense returning, same coordinator returning, so there should be more consistency than what we're thinking about right now. So, Andy, is that fair to say? Or do you kind of agree with me there? Do you feel like Carson Wentz has been doing okay, and the defense is more of the bigger concern, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think Wentz has done okay. I think he's probably paid like 50-60% of what he's going to be capable of come week 1. I don't think he's, like you say, they're not going to show the whole playbook right now. It's preseason. They probably want to scheme some plays and get some looks and see what he can do. And if he can do that well enough before they start showing their full hand, I mean, it's preseason. We're not going to show the full playbook.
Andy, I'll come back to you because your microphone's kind of going in and out, so I'll come back to you in a second. So you're muted and come back on. It's not nice. I'm sure it's some great information, but we just missed it because I was doing making some noise. So, Mike, so what do you think, man? Like, are you happy on Carson Wentz so far? Like, is my assessment fair, or do you think what do you pick it apart if you want to? What do you guys say?
No, it's definitely a fair assessment. Obviously, you would like to see them take a little bit more shots down the field. They did against Carolina, and I think Jahan Dotson got the pass interference called or the holding call against him. So that was a deep shot. Probably would have went for 6. So you definitely seen some good things. I guess the knock on Carson Wentz coming into the season was obviously like all the locker room off the field stuff. But as far as his on the field play, was he holds the ball too much and he doesn't take the layups. He's not really coachable. And it just seems like so far throughout the couple preseasons, I think his average depth of pass has been like 6.2 yards. Cool. So it kind of seems like he's taking the checkdowns. Like you said, George, he's really decisive in the offense, making quick decisions, minus that one sack that he took. So I definitely think that Scott Turner is kind of catering to his strengths, which is that quick game, big arm, kind of like the quick passes. Get him to a rhythm, kind of like a basketball player. Just hit the layups, get yourself into a rhythm, a shooting rhythm.
Shots.
Exactly. Build some confidence up for yourself. So I like what Scott Turner's done with him so far. Like I said, the knock on him was he doesn't take the checkdowns. He doesn't take the easy throws, the layups. And it seems like to me so far through 2 preseason games, only maybe 14, 15 throws, he has kind of taken those checkdowns. He has worked through his progressions. Hey, here's my outlet. Let me hit the tight end on the drag route, the seam route, or some whatnot. So like what I've seen so far, but I definitely want to see come week 1 them open the offense up a little bit more and take those shots and push the ball down the field.
All right, Andy, great point, Mike. Andy, are you confident in Scott Turner? Or do you feel like he has a good dynamic with Carson Wentz? What's your feeling of Carson Wentz as well?
Can you hear me now, first of all?
Yep.
Carson Wentz for me is playing at 50-60%. He's not going to show his full hand.
Here, Andy, hold on one second. Maybe jump off and jump back on, because it's like making you like sound like a chipmunk. It's like kind of fast for some reason or another. Here, come right back like in 2 seconds, and we'll be here. We'll make it happen. So so let's talk about. We'll go to Chase Young, Mike, before he comes back. So obviously we saw that he's on the PUP list. We saw that he had that injury. It appears to be more serious than what we imagined, right? From what I saw the other day, a fully ruptured patella tendon, which is a pretty big deal. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think, can our defense kind of bounce back with Chase Young being on the sidelines? And I I guess the second part, you don't have to answer now, but like consider this. Does this affect his legacy at all, like in regard to being the number 2 pick? So let's start off with the first question. So first question. Yeah. How will our defense recover from Chase Young?
Yeah, I think that it's going to be on the Casey Two-Hills, the James Smith-Williams, those type of guys to just step up and kind of. If you go back to last year, you remember whenever Chase went down, James Smith-Williams stepped in, Casey Two-Hill stepped in, and I'm not going to say like the defense got better when Chase went out, but it just seemed like they were a little bit more disciplined as far as like what they were supposed. They were doing what they were coached up to do, pretty much. They were just taking their assignment and doing their exact assignment, not more, not less,
Yeah.
And it kind of helped the defense out as far as like, okay, this guy is maintaining his gap, maintaining his responsibilities, and it kind of freed the other guys up to kind of play loosely, and the defense started to play a little bit better. With all that being said, obviously Chase Young is 10 times better than those guys. He's a freak athlete, and you want a guy like Chase back on the field as soon as he's ready to go and can get back on the field. So as far as the defense, it's going to be up to Montez Sweat. Really, he's him and Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne. They just got to take over and really just take over games like we know that they are capable of to get some pass rush on the opposing quarterbacks for those first 5 to 7 weeks when Chase is out. And that's obviously going to help the back end out a little bit as far as coverage goes, because the more the rush goes, you marry it with the coverage on the back end. It's easier to cover a receiver if the quarterback's rushed. The longer he has to pass, obviously the defensive backs can't cover for forever out there. So, I think it's going to be up to Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, and Deron Payne to just step up, get back to that 2020 and obviously Jonathan Allen's 2021 form, and just be that dominant defensive front until Chase comes back to add that little bit of extra, I guess, cherry on top of the defensive line.
Cool. And then save that legacy question for a second. We'll come back to that one. So I like what Scott Harley said in the chat. He said, if we get 27 touchdowns, 7 interception, Carson, I'd be very happy with that. We haven't had that in many years for the QB position. It's exactly right. So basically, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, Taylor Heineke had 20 and 15 last year. So it's definitely a much better ratio. I would love it if he broke the 30 touchdown mark. We haven't seen that since 1967 in Washington, D.C. We got to switch that up a little bit. So Sonny Jurgensen, the guy that's getting retired, the last person that we saw that happen. So hopefully everything's going good over there, Andy. So with Chase Young, we were just talking about the 4-game being on the PUP list, and that's definitely disappointing. I asked Mike, like, do you think is that going to drastically affect our defense? Do you think we have the scheme and the players to kind of stay afloat? What are you looking for? What are your concerns and thoughts about hearing Chase Young being out for our games?
I wasn't surprised that he's going to be out for this amount of games.
Okay.
I don't want to see him rush back, to be honest. This is a big injury. I'd rather him be 100% than him want to come back onto the field at 70%. But his course is going to be a loss. I mean, he's defensive rookie of the year in his first season. Didn't have the best second season, but I think that was more him trying to adapt to the NFL than the NFL adapting to him. He should have stuck or got into the dance. And I think that's the Chase Young we're going to see this season. I think when he does get back, we're going to see what got him into the NFL. But like Mike says, you've got Payne, Sweat, then Allen. Everyone just needs to step up. It's next man up, and this is the NFL. Like the key voice says, next man up. Let's go and do it. And you can't use Chase as a scapegoat. If things don't go well, you can't turn around and say, well, we haven't got Chase. We've got people like Logan Thomas. He worries me still on the other side of the ball. You see him coming out with it.
Montez Sweat.
Yeah, Montez Sweat. So it's not just Chase. But I was watching a show the other day, and they said, if you're playing in the NFL, most of the players, I think it was on Hard Knocks. I don't know if you guys saw the first episode of Hard Knocks. They said you're playing in the NFL, 78% fit anyway. So let's see what happens comes game on. So it takes some to be a big loss there.
Yeah, so it's definitely gonna be a work in progress and kind of figure out how that goes over there. So let me throw this to you, Mike, and then Andy, you can jump in on this. So Montez Sweat is gonna miss he's going to miss 4 games, okay? And obviously, he's going to probably need a couple games to kind of reacclimate back to the pros, basically get back into like getting into shape and kind of standing out, right? So let's say 4 games of that, right? So 8 games, we have 9 games remaining. He's essentially going to miss half the season, right? It's like, half the season to get back on the right form. talking about legacy, right? So, an Eagle fan that I work with, he basically was like kind of like, busting my chops. He's like, is Chase Young, like, how does this reflect his legacy? Is he going down the bust route? Like, what's going on there, right? So Andy kind of touched on it. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Last year kind of struggled, then got injured. Then year 3, missing half the season. That's 3/4 of his contract. So that is a little bit eye-opening. But on just being objective, he's going to be 20. He is 23, so he's still young. There's still plenty to go. What are your thoughts? Like, do you think, is it too tough? Is it too hard to maybe judge him now, or what are your thoughts on everything?
Yeah. As far as his legacy, I don't think it's going to affect his legacy yet because he still has until his 5th year of being here for them to make a decision on should we pay him or is he going to be one of those guys where we pick up his 5th year option but then don't pay him after the season, make him maybe franchise tag and go that route. Yeah. But if you go back to the 2020 season, his rookie year when he won Defensive Rookie of the Year, obviously he came out against the Eagles week 1. That whole defense went crazy. But Chase himself, came out, I think it was like the first play of the game, second play of the game. Made like a huge tackle or a sack or something like that. So he definitely flashed that game. And then the next couple of games, I think he got injured. He wasn't really playing up to his level of play that he's capable of. And it wasn't until maybe like halfway through the season where he came back from the hip pointer or whatever it was. And he said he felt like himself again. He felt fresh and like almost close to 100%. And that's when that second half of the season, he just took off. Started making game-changing plays. You remember the San Francisco game, the scoop and score? Or was that Pittsburgh?
San Francisco. Yeah, it was.
Against San Francisco, the scoop and score, obviously. So I definitely think that him missing the first 4 games, I always said week 5 would be like the most viable option. But now I think it was Michael Richards of the Richmond Times.
Okay.
Michael Phillips of the Richmond Times.
And
he was saying that obviously the first 4 weeks he's out, and then week 5 versus Tennessee, you don't want to bring him back because he hasn't even started practicing yet. So got to get back into game shape and whatnot. Then they have the Thursday game, week 6, and then they have obviously the game against Green Bay. I think it is week 7. So maybe week 7 against Green Bay, maybe week 8 on the road against whoever we play that week might be the time when you see him. But I just expect Chase to come back, and I just hope that I'm not expecting to have like some crazy Booger McFarland break the sack record and the forced fumbles record type of season. Yeah, but I just hope that he comes back. I want to see that he's confident about his knee. He kind of takes that mental hurdle out of it around his knee, and like he just he makes flash plays. I'm not expecting him to come out, like I said, and get a sack every single game for the last X amount of games that he plays. But I just want to see him flash on the screen. I want to see him making plays. He's always been a great run stopper, so I'm not really worried about that. I just want to see him getting pressures and making the quarterback uneasy in the pocket. But as far as his legacy goes, I don't think that's affected yet because if he has a strong finish to the season this year, whenever he comes back, we're going to expect big things going into year 4. And I'm sure the team will as well. Yeah. And I think come year 4, I think that's when you can start talking about, okay, what's his future? What's his legacy in Washington?
You're on the exact same page. So, like, basically, my friend Joe Castro, he's a great guy to work with. If you guys want to get him on your pod, but Joe Castro was like, is his legacy in question? I told him it's way too early. I told him he kind of have to let him play out his rookie contract first to kind of see how things go. And then I like what you said too. Mike kind of put it in my head. Like his numbers might not get to where we want him to get to at the end of the year, like 10, 12, whatever sacks we want it to get to. But the fact that we're watching him and, does he pass the eye test where he looks explosive and he's making plays? That does go a long way to kind of seeing that, his upward trajectory for next year, which I think is really good. Andy, what are your thoughts on Chase Young's legacy? What do you think about that?
How's my microphone? So you can hear me.
A little bit. We got 80%. We're good. Just not talking out. You got it.
Yeah, his legacy is not nothing. He's only played 2 seasons. I mean, what your legacy for me? You've got probably 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons in the league before you can have a true legacy. You know what I mean? So these people, and there's many people judging him. I saw people saying last season cut him and like this. Trace going to get some picks for him. And that's just crazy, man. Give the young man a chance. You know what I mean? You don't get defensive rookie. And all these people said, well, he got defensive rookie on a season when we only won 9 games and won a division. These people should never watch football ever again. Go and watch basketball. I mean, you know what I mean? You're never allowed to watch football ever again. I mean, he's going to be the elite of the elite. Chase Young. Give the young man time.
You can see it, right?
He's a once in a generation talent. You could already see it. Just don't give the man
in Washington, we want it now. We want everything. We expect him to come in and take us to a Super Bowl. Well, he can't do that on his own. He can contribute, but he can't get us there on his own. So, give the young man time. This. I can't. I come close to having a similar kind of injury when I played soccer over here. This is a big injury to come back from. This is not something. It's not like he's playing soccer or my English friend's going to kill me for calling it soccer, football. He needs to be given time. This is a huge injury he's come back from. So give him time. He'll prove why he is the player that we all know he's going to be.
I agree. And basically, I've been to training camp a couple of times now. And one thing I can honestly say, and I'm not saying it as being a homer, but when you walk on the field, you can see why he's the number 2 overall selection. He's like a physical specimen. He's bigger than everybody. He's more agile than everybody else. He's hitting a sled and doing like a ladder drills. Like we're watching him do that. So that's why I was kind of surprised. I was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure he probably could play week 1. This is me just visually seeing him, but I'm sure there's much more mechanics and other like pressure and things like that are kind of under the surface there. So definitely, he obviously needs more time to develop, but I agree with you, Andy. He is that special talent that eventually, once he hits a stride, he'll start taking over the league, and it's way too early to give up on him. You definitely got to believe in him there. So I agree with that. So let's talk about some other people on our team. So basically, big hot topic in DC. We're seeing an Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson dynamic kind of shift and kind of change over the past couple of weeks. I personally am not going to give up on Antonio Gibson yet. I think it's kind of a good to have like a nice balanced ratio, kind of ride the hot hand between the players. But I kind of want to see what your take is, because I know Mike Hall is he leads the bus on the basically Antonio Gibson train. So what are your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, as everyone knows, AJ's been my guy. If you follow me on Twitter, listen to the Burgundy Zone podcast, I had to talk Kyle and Reed off of a cliff, because at the time we had AP and Darius Geis as our running backs. And I was like, no, look, I watched a lot of college football, so I randomly would watch Memphis. They would usually be on at 12 o'clock or 3 o'clock on FS1 or ESPN. No other good games were really on at that time. So man, let me check this out. And he was just always that one guy that kind of just flashed off the screen. I was like, oh man, that guy's could be something in the league. But as far as the dynamic goes between them, obviously I want AG to kind of do his thing. I want him to kind of be that breakout guy, because I always thought he could be kind of that Christian McCaffrey light kind of for us, where obviously he's not as good as Christian McCaffrey, not as elite, but I felt that he could kind of be that second tier Christian McCaffrey kind of guy, that second tier Alvin Kamara type of guy, just crazy in space, can hit the tackles as well, good in the passing game because he's a former receiver. And I think that the coaching staff, when they drafted him, they just had we need to convert him to a running back and get him to go north-south. And I know people are trying to oh, well, why is the coaching staff just now figuring out he's really good in space and he needs to be used in the open field more and blah, blah, blah. But I just look at it as I think the coaching staff was trying to mold him into that true RB1 that can hit through the tackles, can run off tackle, can run the zone stuff, the outside zone stretch stuff. And then they can work him into the passing game as he gets more comfortable running the football. When I think in hindsight, obviously, they should have just went backwards. We were let's do what he's good at and get him comfortable, and then let's ease him in to that RB1 kind of lead, kind of I don't want to say Derrick Henry, but that kind of Jonathan Taylor type of role, where he's a bell cow type of role. So on the negative side, he's probably not going to be the RB1 anymore. He's not going to get as many touches. He's not going to be the focal point. On the positive side, he's kind of been nicked up and banged up here and there throughout his first couple of years. So that'll alleviate some of the workload for him with Brian Robinson stepping in there. And secondly, they can kind of use him more in the passing game, hopefully, kind of get him out in space, line him up kind of the Deebo Samuels that they're going to use for Curtis Samuel, the Deebo Samuel type of role where they can kind of line him up in the slot. They can line him up in the backfield, put him on the outside, motion jet sweep stuff, kind of stuff. So use him on kickoff return. So I just want to see the ball get into his hands and him make some flash plays for us, because he's definitely still a weapon, definitely still a need for this team, and I definitely still think he'll have a role in this team somewhere.
Gotcha. And then, Andy, I'll throw it over to you. Do you think it's a done deal? Do you think it's already set in stone that Brian Robinson will be the RB1 week 1? And do you like that? And do you think it's going to be, do you like the fact that the way they're using Antonio Gibson as well?
I think he's going to be Robertson's going to be RB1 come week 1. And what's going to be interesting is how he handles the pressure, because what happens if he fumbles the ball week 1, week 2? Are we all going to, all these fans that want to throw Gibson under the bus, then going to pick Robinson up and throw him under the bus as well? It's like, this is the National Football League. Fumbling happens. It's football. It happens. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles the pressure now, being RB1, because our running backs in Washington are under that. They're under pressure, because it's a vital part of our game. It's something that we use it to get good field positions a lot of the time. You can't always look at Terry and Carmi Brown and things like that. So I'm going to be interested to see how he handles the workload. But from what I've seen in pre-season, and it is only pre-season, so I can only go on what I've seen, I think he's going to be just fine. I just hope that it transitions into the regular season. I'm like you, George. I'm not prepared to throw Gibson under the bus. I think he still offers a hell of a lot to this team. And what a great, if he is going to be the replacement. I think we've got a suitable replacement to come in for Robinson.
Yeah, 100%.
Certain plays, kickoff returns, like you say, the jet sweeps, everything like that. Like, you put him in the slot. Perfect. We saw him at the Kansas City game when he was out in the slot, made some good plays in transition. So all in all, I think it might be good for Gibson. This might be the few weeks that he needs. It might get the cogs ticking in his brain, thinking, hang on a minute, I'm not guaranteed to start spot here. It might be the kick up the arse that he needs as well.
I agree. I do like that. And I hope that he rises to the occasion, because I can see it going either way. I can see him basically, this is the kick in the butt that I need to kind of get to me where I need to get to, or it could be like the kick in the butt where it's like he starts spiraling, not necessarily like some people kind of react differently. He might not necessarily buy into it. I do think Brian Robinson has the potential to take the lead and kind of roll with it. He played in the Alabama championship games, big playoffs, big games. I think he has the pedigree to rise to the occasion. So I am confident about that. And I am also confident. I love that the fact that you've seen both of us, we're all three of us. We're constantly on Twitter. We're seeing all those cut ups of that decisive. I see a hole, I just go right into it and I fall forward every single time. And that's what this offense needs. We need someone to kind of we're not the Chiefs, we're not the Rams. We just take 30, 40-yard chunk plays. We kind of need to move the chains consistently. So if we get a running back that gets us 4 or 5 yards, consistently to kind of make things more manageable, that's more beneficial than the home run threat. And you never know, like I said, me and Kyle were talking from the Burgundy Zone, was talking earlier on Twitter. It's almost like you kind of have to pick your poison too. There might be a game where Antonio Gibson is just kind of completely dominating and just seeing those holes. Ride the hot hand, man. It doesn't matter who scores the touchdowns. Just get the points on the board. And that's all that really matters. Okay. Let's do 2 more questions. Let's do more questions that will be done for the day. So Logan Thomas, he definitely came back. He came back this week. He's come back this week, kind of getting more reps onto the field. What's the importance, or what do you see how impactful is Logan Thomas to this offense, Mike? What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's definitely huge for this offense. It just adds another weapon to this already potentially explosive offense with Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, Brian Robinson, we just mentioned, Antonio Gibson out the backfield. We haven't even mentioned J.D. Mckissick yet, who has been the ultimate weapon out the backfield for us. And just numbers-wise throughout the NFL, he's been one of the top guys out the backfield passing-wise. Mm-hmm. So it just opens up that whole middle of the field for a guy like Logan Thomas, who dominated 2 years ago in the middle of the field for us as a tight end one. So, and then Carson Wentz, obviously, he loves his tight ends, going back to Philly when he had Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, and those guys. And just his height overall is going to be a huge red zone threat for us. I know our red zone offense has been not the best over the past couple of years with the quarterback play. So a guy with a strong arm like Carson Wentz can fit in tight windows. And a guy that already loves it's kind of the taller, bigger wide receivers and tight ends, I think it only bodes well for this offense going forward and in the red zone, because Logan Thomas and the rest of these tight ends as well, Cole Turner and John Bates has some height to him as well, and kind of sneaky out of the passing game as well. But Logan Thomas is definitely going to be a huge piece coming back for this offense, and hopefully it makes us a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more explosive across the middle.
I'm excited because for the first time in a couple of years, I'm actually looking forward to the offense. I feel like, it's been our team has really been defensive oriented for the past couple of years and really kind of invested our capital into the defense. I'm really excited to kind of see our offense thrive. And I think we have a big armed quarterback and multiple weapons to kind of thrive there. I don't know if you have anything additive, Andy, to kind of share about Logan Thomas. What are your thoughts on him coming back and how he affects our offense?
Dude, Mike will tell you everything, and Carl got me onto Logan. He's my guy, man. He's my favorite Commanders player. I love the dude. What he offers you as well is when people are so concentrating on Terry and Diamond Brown and Brian Robinson, when you've got a Logan Thomas on the field, what a weapon that gives you. You know what I mean? That gives you such options. He can block. He's fast for a big dude. He can move as well, which adds as a tight end. If you're quick, that just opens up so many options for you on your offense. So to have him back, I just hope we have him back at 100%. I think that could take a while. Obviously, he could be another one. I'm still 50-50 whether we'll see him week 1. I know he wants to go, but I think he could be limited. But, oh, man, what an option the guy gives you on the offense.
And a big body in the red zone. I definitely agree with you there. And I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised with his return. I know he came back for like maybe 1 or 2 games last year. Remember, you could just drastically see the difference about him coming in. So that was a big deal. All right, so I lied. I still got 2 more questions for you. Sorry, fellas. All right, other questions. So we had the cut day was yesterday. 5 pretty simple cuts. Kevin Harmon was the headliner there. Next Tuesday is going to be that big cut from 80. I think it's 80 or 85 down to 53. Do you guys anticipate? Any major cuts or surprises next week? Andy, we can start off with you if you want.
Not surprise cuts. I mean, obviously we've had a few this week. As in surprises, not really. I'm more worried about who we're bringing in. I mean, I know someone mentioned in the chat earlier, they want us to sort the linebacker
or something.
How many weeks have we been speaking about that now? And it doesn't seem to get addressed. Someone was in the comments earlier. Someone said they're concerned about the linebacker core. And we could get cooked on 3rd down. So I'm more concerned about that. I mean, comings and goings in the NFL, it happens, they're on the practice squad for 2 weeks, then they're gone, then they're back, then on the practice squad, so I'm not too afraid. I don't think there'll be many surprise cuts. I'm more worried about who's coming in. Like that D said in the comments, linebacker has worried me, and I've heard Hall and Carl and everyone else speak. Wes Martin's just signed again this afternoon.
Yeah, where, Scott? Drop that in the chat because I didn't see that. I'm interested in that. So if you know that, Scott, let us know. But keep going.
I saw. I think John Keim or somebody tweeted that out earlier.
With what team?
Yeah,
signed back with us.
Oh, really? Oh, that's fantastic. That's good to hear. It's awesome. Cool. I didn't know that. Cool.
That's a very good signing. That's a very
good signing.
Yeah. Like I say, I'm just interested to see who we bring in more than who goes out. I still think we've got the deep threat worries me against Washington this season. We've obviously got middle linebacker, corner, safety. I think that's where we're going to be targeted, and I think we might see that come week 1. I think the Jags they're going to have done their homework against us, and I think that's where they're going to target. I mean, all of us that are going to be in FedEx, if you're going to see bombs being thrown, it might not be from Wentz. You might not see it. It could be. I think we're in for a harder game than we really think we are because I think the Jags.
I think so. I think both the games, the Lions it's going to be a tough game too. And there's no easy games in the NFL. Like even if we win the game, it's going to be a 3-point game, 7-point game. It's not going to be a cakewalk at all. So I mean,
it's going to be heart attack football. It's going to be. It's never
100%.
Nothing. When's the last time we dominated a game and we won it convincingly?
The Cowboys Thanksgiving game, I think, when Antonio Gibson went off. That's the last time I can remember. But it's been a while, like 2 years.
Yeah.
So definitely. So I agree. One thing I do like that Mike kind of brought to my attention is there are some people that have kind of like shined. Like I noticed little small things in the preseason games, and like what Mike noticed was that we were doing a better job at protecting the deep ball. And I do agree with that. I did notice that McCain's dropping back. There's better communication. They're not getting those deep shots on us. A couple other things that I liked. Like I know, like it sounds kind of funny, but like I noticed that Curtis Samuel was a willing blocker. Like pay attention to that. Like actually, I saw him kind of like was always worried about his health, but he runs down the field. He's constantly blocking, kind of pushing people. So I was impressed by that. F.A. Obata, man, I don't know if you guys have caught on to him yet and kind of watch him so far. It's your boy. He basically the UK guy. He basically he's out there, man. He's causing some pressure. I like the way I saw from week 1, and then Montez Sweat. I think is going to be a menace this year. I'm really looking forward to Montez Sweat. So Mike, I didn't ask you. Do you anticipate any like surprising cuts on your end, or what are you thinking?
Surprising cuts. I think that
froze up. Well, while he's kind of processing, I'm worried about like Trey Turner. Like I know, like I think he's going to eventually make the team, but he hasn't stepped on the field the entire time.
No.
And basically, like there was some sort of like injury that he had, or some sort of upper thigh injury. He has been practicing, but that's definitely something that I'm a little bit concerned and worried about. But what's up, Big Mike? How you doing, bro? So I know you were thinking about that question pretty hard, so you feel free to indulge on it now. So what do you got?
Yeah. I was saying, like, as far as surprises go, I don't think it's going to be a surprise, but it's just one of those guys where last year we kept hearing his name a lot. He was a guy that everyone kind of gravitated to, kind of their preseason. There's always one preseason hero every year. He was kind of the preseason kind of like hype up hero last year. And I think that just talking to Logan Paulson on our podcast and just how he was talking about it, I think that Jared Patterson would be the surprise cut, and they might go with Jonathan Williams as that practice squad RB4 guy. And it's not because Jared Patterson hasn't done anything wrong. It's just with the emergence of Brian Robinson kind of taking that RB1 spot, it kind of pushes everyone else back down the depth chart a little bit more. And I think that Jonathan Williams is going to come out on top of that RB4 battle. So if I had to pick one guy, I would say Jared Patterson.
Cool. That's a very good insight. I like that as well. I agree with you on that one too. Last question, fellas, we can bring it on home. So obviously, last preseason game, I believe it's Saturday. The Ravens take it very, very seriously. I kind of saw some whispers today that the starters are going to play limited time, which would be kind of interesting. Walking away from that game, Andy, what is something that you want to see? What would you deem successful after watching that game for the Saturday?
No injuries for a start.
Okay.
This is like people shot me down last week, and I said on our podcast, but this is Washington. Just don't want any injuries. I don't want no drama going into week one. Something always seems to happen with us. I don't think we're going to see. I think we might see Wentz for a few series just to get him in a little bit of rhythm again. I don't think.
I agree with that. I don't know if you guys agree with that. I don't mind getting him out there. I think the more practice, the better. Honestly, stay healthy.
I think we could see him. We might see him for the first quarter. Just to get him ticking, just to say that Ron, Scott Turner's probably said to him, hey, look, I just want to try this. I want to look at this. I want to see how you feel doing this. And I'm happy with him doing that as long as, we can protect him. There was a few times last week when I was kind of like, oh God, get him off. You know what I mean? Get him off the field. Again, interested to see what Sam Howell can do. I've been really, I'm not on the hype train like a few people message. Yeah, a lot of people, a couple of the UK guys messaged me saying we could see him. They reckon we'll see him as a starter by week 9. And I was kind of like, wow.
Nah, he's not playing this year.
Might be only way that happens if we're 0-9.
I agree. If we're falling apart, they might just kind of test him out to see what's going to happen.
I kind of want us to go old school with him. I want to sit him for a season. If you look how long Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre, and everyone was like, "You've got to put him in." You've got to put him. Mahomes sat for a year. And it might sound a bit dramatic or a bit old-fashioned, but maybe I am like that.
I'm with you, Andy. I'm with you. Like, when's the last time Washington's let a quarterback properly incubate? Right? Exactly. It's always feel like
we've rushed it.
Thrust him in, like RG3. RG3 had to hit the ground running, but Haskins is special. Haskins had the physical talent, but we had to deem him a savior very early on, and he wasn't ready for that. And that's kind of it could lead to his downfall, unfortunately. But I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. I mean, that's pretty much it. No injuries. Defense, it depends who's going to play. Maybe I want to see them step up a little bit more, but just get injury free. Just get through the preseason. Like I said, I don't put too much stock into preseason. I've kind of enjoyed watching player breakdowns. I'm not a big evaluator. I don't pretend to know loads about the X's and O's, but when people like yourself, George, and especially Carl over at the Burgundy Zone, I'm interested to see what different player types do. Antonio Gibson will probably play a lot more this weekend. It sounds weird to say, but he'll probably see this preseason game as a proving point. He's probably like, hey, this is why you're keeping me around. And they'll probably play him out. He'll be the running back for most of the game. He's going to want to prove a point to say, hey, this is why you need to keep me around. This is why you don't want to cut me. So people like that, Heineke, again, I kind of know what I'm going to. I've said this all preseason. He hasn't shown me anything that I don't already know. He can scramble well. He can scramble well out the pocket. He might throw the odd interception. He'll excite me for 2 plays. He'll want me to kill him for 2 plays. I think I know what I'm getting for him. So yeah, just health. Just stay healthy, and then really knuckle down now. We're 2 weeks away from week 1, and like I said at the start of the show, George, I think teams are probably looking at us the same way we're looking at other teams. They're probably seeing the
I
Washington
agree.
Commanders, and
You
they're
have to be
seeing.
you have to be realistic about it.
Be
100%.
realistic here. This is
Yeah,
Washington.
yeah,
That's all I'm saying
yeah.
to fans.
I
Don't get me
agree.
wrong. I'm flying
Yeah.
thousands of miles to see this first game, and of course I want us to win. But sometimes my head has to overrule my heart, and people are looking at us thinking, win,
Yeah.
win. You know, so let's temper expectations. That's easy to say because come week one, I'll probably have us scoring 30, 40 points. You know? once I've had about 8 or 9 beers standing outside FedEx.
Then it's the player of the week, Carson Wentz. Yeah, exactly right. 100%.
Exactly. But yeah, let's just stay healthy in this last preseason. Let's get preseason done, and then let's get down to serious stuff.
I agree. All right, Mike, what about you, man? What would be a successful preseason game for against the Ravens?
Yeah, definitely. Andy hit it spot on. Just get out of there healthy. I want to see all the guys that are going to get playing time in week one, which is like the starting 11 guys on both sides of the ball, and then like all the backup rotational guys as well. Just get out of there healthy and just get ready, prepare for the Jaguars in week one and Trevor Lawrence and that new and improved offense they have down there. But also, I think Coach Ron Rivera said today earlier that someone asked him after practice if the starters would play this game. He said very limited. So I don't know if that means 1 series, 2 series on both sides of the ball, but let's say it's just 2 series. I want to see the offense be able to come out and just don't go 3 and out. Don't go 4 or 5 plays and out. I want to see you move the ball down the field, rack up some yardage, and God willing, maybe even put some points on the board, even if it's just a field goal. Just get in the field goal range. Get in the field goal range, if anything.
Did Joey Slye miss his last field goal?
Yeah, exactly. But on the defensive side of the ball, just however many series, how many plays you are in there, I don't want to see any 10-plus play drives, any 8-plus play drives. I want to see maybe not even just a 3 and out, maybe 4 or 5 plays and out of there. But I don't want to see them giving up huge chunk plays, and I don't want to see them giving up a 10 to 12 play drive for 70, 80 yards plus. So just come out, be efficient in the reps that you have as the ones, because it's your last time before you're going to get any real action again come week one. So just come out, stay healthy, injury-free, and be efficient in the reps you get.
I think it'll go a long way, right? Like I do want the starters to play a little bit. They don't have to play a lot because I do think health is ultimately the most important thing for the entire season. It would go a long way in regard to chemistry, in regard to just positivity, because like if the team comes out and scores on the first series, I'll be perfectly content with that. We can kind of ride that wave into week one, and everybody will feel more confident. We don't want to hear that negative energy around here. We want to be confident going into week one. I like that a lot. So, gentlemen, thank you for that awesome content. I really enjoyed having a conversation with you.
You guys think
Andy,
we in the Raven streak on Saturday of preseason wins?
That would be awesome.
So. Just so we don't have to hear about it anymore.
That'd be so much fun, actually. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'd love for that to happen. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So Andy, man, so it was a pleasure talking to you. I'm going to see you on September 11th. Tell everybody that's listening and watching, basically, where can they find you on Twitter? Tell about your socials, tell about your podcast, plug anything you want.
So at Washington FC UK1 on Twitter, the bunker with Andy and Freddie. Freddie's taking some time off at the minute, so Carl is kindly from the Burgundy Zone has kindly stepped in and is helping me co-host. Next show is dropping on I think Monday now, because obviously the game starts at midnight. We usually record Sunday, but the game starts at midnight for me. So it's going to be kind of hard to get a pod. So me and Carl are going to try and get something out Sunday or Monday. But yeah, the bunker, you can find us on Twitter, the bunker with Andy and Freddie. I can't wait to literally 2 weeks. I'm going to come and show you guys how to drink.
I love it. He's educated. I've been trying to learn my entire life. I can't figure it out. Man. So definitely show me the ways, man. I love it that way. All right, Mike, how about you, bro? Where can they find you? What's going on with everything?
Just co-hosting the Burgundy Zone with Kyle and Mike Reed on our shows on Monday and Fridays that we record, and then we post it on Twitter. You can find it on YouTube, wherever you can find podcasts at, Spotify, all that good stuff. But mostly just YouTube. Just like and subscribe if you want to. And George, appreciate you having me on. Andy, you're my guy. I can't wait till week one. 2 more. It's been 2 years. 2 more weeks, man. 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks, man. I know it's going to be. It's about time, man, that we all got together. But George, thank you. I really, honestly, your content's truly amazing, man. I really enjoy what you do. So I really appreciate you having me on, man.
Of course, I'm looking forward to seeing you too, man. And you guys are exactly right. It was 2 years, because I remember a couple of years ago you wanted to go to a Nats game, wanted to put everything together for that. And I saw all that conversation. I was trying to jump in with you guys, so I definitely respect both of you. I'm really looking forward to meeting you guys too. And for everyone that's
see neighbors for life, my man. man, Scott.
I see that. All right, so guys, everyone that's listening, I really appreciate you guys sticking around for us. I'm George Carmi at GCarmi21. I'm starting up this Full Press Commanders podcast. Definitely give me a like and subscribe on YouTube. I'd really appreciate that. You can find all this this exact recording right now on all audio platforms as well. It's definitely was a pleasure to be around. Hopefully you guys have a great night. Take care, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace out.